Hello there and welcome to a very special Songs of Praise on this Remembrance Sunday. It's a time to reflect and commemorate the men and women who have been injured or have lost their lives in 2 world wars and in other conflicts past and present. We're also reminded of the families who have been left behind and join with them in honouring the sacrifice that their loved ones made. And today being Armistice Day, we remember the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, when the guns fell silent, marking the end of the First World War. On this special day, the widow whose husband was killed in Afghanistan draws strength from her faith. A survivor of an IRA bomb 25 years ago remembers all of its victims. And Remembrance Day hymns from Enniskillen. We're in Northern Ireland's most westerly county, in the stunning lakelands of Fermanagh, and it's a very poignant time to be here. 25 years ago, people from the town of Enniskillen gathered, as usual, at this cenotaph to remember those who gave their lives during the First and Second World Wars. As the crowd of men, women and children assembled, a devastating IRA bomb exploded, killing 11 people and injuring many more. Images of Enniskillen were beamed around the world, with one of the fears being that this horrific event would turn Protestant and Catholic neighbours against each other. But instead, the people from Enniskillen worked together to promote peace and understanding. Today, the congregations of both traditions unite to remember the past and build a future together here at St Macartn's Church of Ireland Cathedral. The cenotaph in Enniskillen is unusual in that alongside the names of those killed in 2 world wars are inscribed the names of the 11 people who died on the 8th of November 1987. Doves have been added to the memorial, one for each person killed in that Poppy Day bomb. One of those represents Samuel Galt, who was a retired police officer. He'd come to pay his respects on Remembrance Day with one of his sons, Stephen, when they were both caught up in the blast.
I'd never heard the bang, but I remember a thud on the back, and I must have been unconscious for 30 seconds, coming round, this eerie silence, and then all of a sudden there was just a noise erupted. Screaming, the shouting. You could actually still hear the building falling around me. I remember I tried to move, I couldn't move, I was buried to the knees, and I thought, where's my dad? And I looked down, and I seen my father up beside me, and his head obviously had been pushed into the railings.
Sammy Galt died instantly. His son Stephen, who was standing beside him, was one of more than 60 people injured. 2 days later, Enniskillen began the harrowing task of burying its dead. Do you ever think, why did I survive and others didn't?
At times I would feel guilt. Why was I not killed? At my lowest point, I would think, I wish I hadn't survived that fateful day.
Stephen's life has moved on to happier times.
That's the poppy I was wearing.
7 years ago he married Sharon, a Catholic from County Cork.
Uncle Joe.
She's been a great support and helps him deal with the day-to-day reminders of what happened.
Roughly 2 weeks after the bomb, I developed a skin condition, psoriasis, and then 6 years after that, it transformed into psoriatic arthritis. People say, time's a great healer, and to me, every day I get up and I try to do anything with my pains, that is a constant reminder of what happened on Remembrance Day.
Despite Stephen's current health problems, he volunteers his time at the Ely Centre in Enniskillen. It was established in the aftermath of the Poppy Day bomb to offer support to victims and survivors of terrorism. He hopes that he can help others by talking about his own experiences.
I'm 42 years of age. I lost my dad when I was 18. He never seen me growing up into the man I am now. He wasn't there the day I got married. So it's very difficult to come to terms that my father is not with me. November 1987 was a dark, dark day for our family. I know my mum was a great believer in faith. I think that's what helped us through. Hopefully with my experience and how I came to live with it, I can help other people do the same.
The small market town of Enniskillen gives its name to not just one army regiment, but two. The Enniskillen Fusiliers and the Enniskillen Dragoons go back 300 years when the Catholic King James and Protestant King William waged war on one another. By the outbreak of the First World War, the regiments were recruiting men not just from Enniskillen. Recruits came from all parts of Ireland, including towns that are now in the Irish Republic. In 1914, the entire island of Ireland was under British rule, and both Protestant and Catholics volunteered. But after the war ended, the political landscape changed when Ireland gained its independence from Britain. For those Irish nationalists who signed up to fight for the British Army, their involvement was often seen as contentious and embarrassing for their families. Many relatives felt unable to publicly commemorate their service. But this year, more than 90 years on, the county of Cavan has for the first time officially remembered the men from the Enniskillens and other regiments who were killed in battles like the Somme, and Gallipoli. Today, as part of a Peace 3 project, the Northern Ireland Phoenix Group are bringing ex-servicemen and women from Enniskillen to Cavan in the Republic of Ireland to meet with retired members of the Irish Defence Forces.
It's something that I couldn't have done 20 years ago because around the border area the IRA was very active. Today it's very relaxed. You don't think of any danger or anything that you would have 20 years ago.
Today we are reaching out to our counterpart across the border who we've seen but never spoke to. Today we have an invested future with both North and South.
Welcome down.
You will.
Now standing shoulder to shoulder, they remember all those who were killed in the First World War.
We've come together to worship God and to remember those who have lived and died in war as they sought to serve others.
It's important to us as a country that we can look back to our ancestors and say, he was one of mine.
Not alone does it highlight the way Irishmen fought side by side, but the different denominations that did participate within the war. My great-grandfather was part of that, and I'm very proud to wear his medals.
In the recently changed political climate, the men from the counties of Fermanagh and Cavan can at last join together to commemorate all the soldiers who fought and died in the First World War.